Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd, as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today I'm going to show you the corner to corner times 4. This is a concept that I have developed. I don't know if it's already existed way back in the past, but I did research and develop this, beginning to frog and being able to figure things out in order to come up with the stitch work for this particular concept. So I'm calling it C2C times 4. So here you see the concept, and we're going to start off in the center. So many people have emailed in over the years saying, can you do a corner to corner but do it as a square instead of just starting on one side of the corner to corner and growing yourself out in order to form it. So in fact kind of creating a granny corner to corner. So basically you have 4 different quadrants. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's all being crocheted at the exact same time. So what you're looking at really is a huge granny square, just like you see. So what we're going to do today is that I'm going to show you how this concept is developed. There is a downfall to this particular concept. There is a consistency of 2 different rounds that need to work together in order to have it, and the only way that you can really see when that is happening is if you're using striping yarn. So let me show you that, because I've actually done a full sample of an Afghan and you can see it clearly in the photo, and I'll show that next. So on screen here is one color being used for the corner to corner times 4. Well, I did my particular sample in Karen Tea Cakes, and what we have here, this is a rectangle, and another time I'll show you how to do it as a rectangle as well. And what it is that we extend out the center just like so. So you'll notice if you follow the color all the way around, you'll notice that it hits back here and then it goes back in the other direction. So I told you that there's 2 different rounds. So in the corner to corner times 4, you're going to go around and stop, and then around the other way and stop, and around and stop, and around and stop. So it's not a continuous round. I did try to develop the pattern so it was a continuous round. The problem is that the slip stitching was so obvious that it was pretty ugly. So what I decided to do is that you need to stop and go back in the other direction. So if you're using striping yarn, you can see I came across with a darker color, I stopped, and I came back. So on 3 sides, so 1, 2, and 3, the striping looks like it's all consistent with each other except for the very start of a round, is that you can see that there's a clear difference. When you're in the smaller squares just like so, you don't really notice it as much. It's when the Afghan is getting much bigger. So I have this Afghan. Let me show that to you on camera. So here's my Afghan, and what you can see, it is corner to corner. So what it is here is that instead of just working up on a diagonal, you're working across as a straight row as you're going all the way across. So what happens in this particular concept is that you're going across, and then eventually you will turn a corner, and the corners are all looking very consistent. You have these gapping spaces in order to create the look that you need. I tried to do different ways of doing this corner, and the only way I could figure out is that I need to have this gapping space so that it doesn't buckle. So this was my 4th attempt on trying this particular concept. So once you go all the way around like that, you can see the color just kind of traced around, and then in the very beginning of the round, which I'll locate in just a moment, you can see there's a difference of how it's starting. So what you can see here, this is a starting round right here. So you can see that the blue came across, and that we build up, and then we came back in the other direction. So the blue never carried over to turn the corner. So on the very starts of these kind of concepts, this to me is not a deal breaker, because honestly the way I fold Afghans and stuff on the back of a sofa and use it for this particular concept, I have the beautiful look of 3 sides, and the one side does have this inconsistent look. So it's really kind of cool. The problem with this is at the end, which I also solved the problem for, is that at the end, because you're working in corner to corner, you'll end up with a jagged edge. So up, down, up, down, up, down, and all you just need to do in the very final round is that you need to square it off by just changing your stitch work at the very end. So my goal today is to get you started and show you how to do this, and I'll show you how to do the border once we get there. This is a rectangular version, which I will post at a later time, but this is how it's done. And again, this is using Karen Tea Cakes. So let's begin to start. You can use any size crochet hook and any size yarn as long as they complement each other. So I use for the Karen Tea Cakes an 8mm size L, and right now I'm going to use Bernat Maker, and I'm going to be using that here, but you can use Karen Simply Soft, Karen Cakes, all that kind of fun stuff, as long as the hook matches each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a slip knot to begin the center of my square, and I want to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and I want to slip stitch to the beginning chain in order to form the ring. So slip stitch, so just through and through, and there is the center of my Afghan right here. So let's begin to work on round number 1. So in round number 1 we're gonna begin and it's gonna chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and that counts as a double crochet, and I want you to double crochet 11 more times, 11 times into the center of this ring. So just count those out together. So 1 and 2, and trap that straggler into position just by putting it around the ring. This is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, and this is 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So I put in 11 double crochets. So with the chaining of 3 in the very beginning plus the 11, there should be a total of 12. We need to count that out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So once you get your 12 in there, just slip stitch it to the top of the beginning chain 3. And let's move on to round number 2. And because you have been burying in this straggler right now, I want you to just go in and just get rid of it. It's out of your hair and out of your face. Let's move on to round number 2. So let's begin round number 2. How you get started is so important. So I'm gonna just take my time. So if I'm going too slow for you, I'm sorry about that. And if I'm going too fast, just push the pause button just to keep up. So I'm going to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and that counts as a double crochet, and I want to double crochet in the next stitch available to me. It's right here. Okay, this one here is part of this one, so just double crochet in the next stitch, and then I want you to do a total of a chaining of 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then in the next stitch here I want you to slip stitch, slip. So this here looks like the side of the corner, right? And it is. So you slip stitch there, and now we're going to start doing the repeat pattern. So we're gonna slip stitch in the next one and chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so double crochet in the next one and then chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then in the next stitch slip stitch down. So do you see that you got 2 sides now of your blanket going on? So let's begin again. The next one is a slip stitch. So there's 2 slip stitches in a row, chain 3, and then double crochet in the next, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch to the next one down. So the next one, next stitch. Okay, so you got 3 sides complete. Now let's do another one. So slip stitch again to the next one, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet in the next one, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into the next one. So we're now here at the bottom. We're just about to finish round number 2, but we're not quite done. So what we want to do is that we want to slip stitch into the next one. Okay, that stitch is already technically done, and then we're going to slip stitch twice into the next chain. Okay, because you got chains, and slip stitch right into the space of the chain 3, and that's how you conclude then this round. So technically you would have stopped normally right here, but you need to continue a little bit further because now we're going to turn our work and begin round number 3. So round number 3 and 4 that I'm about to start here is a repeat. So it doesn't matter how big you make this, it's just a repeat. So now you're going to chain up 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and look at the angle that I'm holding this at. I'm not holding it up like this, I'm holding it on an angle. and around the same ones that I just slip stitched up. So when we came across, we slip stitched up this one here, and then we turned our work and began. So we chained up 3, and I want to double crochet twice around that same chain. So 1 and 2. Okay, so now we're going to continue then, and we're going to slip stitch around the next chain 3 gapping space right here. So slip stitch, and because this is a corner, we need to grow up the corner as what you see it. So to grow it up, you're going to chain 3, you are going to double crochet in the next double crochet, and then chain 3 to come back down. So 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into this chain 3 space right there, and then begin. So notice how I'm just kind of turning. So now I'm going to begin the next length here. So the only difference as we go along is that these corners get further and further apart from each other. So we're going to chain up 3, and you're going to put in 2 double crochets into the chain 3 space that where you just slip stitched. And then once you get here, you're going to slip stitch to the next chain 3, which just happens to be the next corner. So slip it first, and then build that corner out. So chain 3, double crochet into the next double crochet, okay, chain 3 to come back down, and slip stitch around the next space down here. Okay, and then continue along. So chain 3, and then put in 2 double crochets around that same one you just slipped around, and then you're coming into the next corner here. So just slip it to the first chain 3 space, and then chain up 3 to build up, and then double crochet in the next one, and then chain 3 to come back down and slip stitch. And you're continuing to do that all the way around. Just watch where you started. Can you see where you started? You started right here. So you wanted to, sometimes it's just easier to put a slip like a stitch marker to know where you stopped and started just in the very beginning. So chain up 3, 2 double crochets around the same space, okay, slip stitch, and we're not done. We still have the final corner to do. So chain up 3, and this is how you finish this one. So you double crocheted in the next one, and now you need to double crochet into this chain 3 space. That's how you finish row the round number 3. So when you finish, you have to put 2 double crochets in a row, and then you're ready to go up then for the next round, which is round number 4. So to begin round number 4, you're going to turn your work and you go back in the other direction. So this here, this would be where that line would create if you're doing any kind of striping yarn. So we turned our work, and we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to double crochet in the next double crochet. This is the corner, and then you're going to chain 3 to come back down the corner. So 1, 2, and 3, and come into the chain 3 space. So you will notice here is that this corner is much bigger than the other corners, so when you come around, you're going to finish right here. So we're going to continue then. So what's going to happen is that there's more distance between the corners. So between the corners, you're just chaining 3 and putting in 2 double crochets into the chain 3 space, and these will lean over on their sides. Okay, so then what you have to just do is then slip stitch it like it's just a regular corner to corner. Slip stitch it in the space between the chain 3 and the double crochets, and then chain 3 and put in 2 more double crochets there. You're going to start seeing the corner to corner concept coming out alive in each quadrant. So then here is the corner. So you slip stitch it, chain up 3, and double crochet in the next double crochet, and then chain 3 to come back down. So 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch it to the chain 3, and then turn the project. So you can see that the corners are gonna look consistent like a ladder as they build out. So you're gonna chain up 3 and double crochet twice into that same chain 3 space, and then treat it like a regular corner to corner. So these boxes are leaning over, just go into the space between the chain 3 and the 2 double crochets, slip stitch it, and then chain 3, and then building up. So it really kind of helps to know how to do corner to corner with this concept as you're growing it. So we're hitting the next corner already, so just slip stitch it first, and then we're going to continue. So we're on the corner and we're gonna just chain up 3 to build it out. You're gonna double crochet in the next double crochet to keep it consistent, and then chain 3 to come back down. 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into the chain 3 space. So just continuing to turn, just chain up 3 and go right into the same space for 2 more double crochets. And then just treat it like a regular corner to corner. So go right in between the 2 double crochets in the chain 3 space with a slip stitch, chain up 3, and then double crochet twice. So basically it's like a corner to corner. Every time you complete a row or a round, they'll get more and more boxes in between the corners. So now you're hitting another corner, so slip stitch it, chain up 3, double crochet in the next one, and then chain 3 to come back down to the next chain 3 space here, and then turn your square. So chain up 3, 2 double crochets into the same one, and work your way across. So right where I'm holding right here is where we had started. So we're just gonna go into the space like it's a regular corner to corner and chain up 3, and then we're going to just put in 2 double crochets. So to finish off round number 4, all we just need to do is that you just join it to the beginning here. So don't join it up at the top, join it right here. Okay, so just join it with a slip stitch, and then what I need you to do is that I need you to slip twice up into this chain. So just move up the chain, so slip and slip and go right into this gapping space and slip. And that's how you finish off round number 4. So now you're gonna be completely ready to where you need to go in order to start round number 3 again. So it's just 3 and 4. So let's turn our work and begin round number 3 once again. So to begin round number 3, it's just gonna be a difference is that the corners are further apart from each other, as you can see, and then the corner to corners lay in between them. So to begin, we're gonna chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to slip stitch exactly where you just did that slip stitching coming up that chain. So just double crochet twice, and treat the rest of the in between the corner like a C2C. So just coming in between the 2 double crochets and the chain 3, just slip it, and then chain 3, coming into that chain 3 space again, and just keep treating it like a regular corner to corner going across. And then eventually you're gonna hit a corner, which is right here. So you're gonna slip it first, and then chain up 3. You're going to double crochet into the next double crochet, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then come back down and slip stitch it in this gap and turn the project. So let's begin. So another side, so chain up 3, and in the same space here you're going to put 2 more double crochet and treat the remaining of the side like it's a regular corner to corner. So go into the space between the 2 double crochets, sorry, the space, so there's a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets, so go in between there, so chain 3, and then put 2 more double crochets into that same spot. So slip it, chain up 3, and 2 more double crochets into the same spot. And then what we have here is that here's your corner, so slips it and then build it up, so chain 3, double crochet into the next. That keeps your corners consistent. And then I want you then to chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then come back down into the next space down here. So now we just turn our work and continue along. So chain up 3, and in the same space you're putting in 2 double crochet, and then coming into the next one, just treat it like a regular corner to corner. So really you only have to pay attention to the corners, like the actual corner to corner itself, because in between the corners it's just pretty much C2C, and then you can look up and watch TV as you're working your way across. So eventually you'll hit your next corner, so you slip it first, chain up 3, and then double crochet back in to the next one, and then chain 3 to come back down, turn your work, chain up 3, 2 double crochet into the same one, okay, and then just treat it like corner to corner. So the only difference really of a corner to corner, there is 3 double crochets. I'm only suggesting 2. I tried 3 and it caused the work to buckle. So just treat it like a regular corner to corner, but with just 2 double crochets into the spaces and not 3. And eventually I have started here. So I'm gonna finish off this corner. So I'm gonna slip it first, chain up 3, and then I'm gonna double crochet into the next one, and then when I'm finishing around number 3 I double crochet into the next space, and then therefore I'm ready to go then for round number 4 again. So to start round number 4, all I'm just going to do is turn the work and build out this corner. So just chain up 3 and double crochet into the next one and come back in the other direction, and then chain 3 to come back down to the space, and then turn the project slightly and then begin. So you're just gonna do corner to corner. So you see you had 1 box here, you had 2 boxes in this round, you had 3 boxes. This time it'll be 4. So chain up 3 to begin, again down the side, and then just keep treating it like corner to corner. So chain 3 and 2 double crochets into the spaces, and then keep moving along, and eventually you'll hit another corner. So as I mentioned, it took me 4 times to get the stitch counts right for these. So slip it, and then you are going to then build at this corner. So chain up 3 and then double crochet, and then chain 3 to come back down, and then begin again. So you just keep on going all the way around. So I'm gonna go all the way around, and then I'm gonna show you how to finish these off so that you can have a nice flat border instead of the jagged edge that I talked about in the beginning of today's tutorial. So I'll see you at the end of this round. So as I come all the way back around number 4, I'm just finishing off the last time. It's like a C2C before I hit the corner, and then remember to finish the corner you were going to, and this is round number 4, so remember 3 and 4 are just slightly different. So you're gonna attach it here, okay, so not up here, attach it here. So just a slip stitch, and then I want you to slip stitch yourself all the way up until you get to the top of that. So slip stitch twice, so 1 and then 2, and then go right into the space right here. So you're just gonna continue to repeat, and you can kind of see that it's happening now. And now I'm gonna show you how to do the border in order to bring consistency. So let's talk about that. So once you're ready for a border, you need to finishing off round number 4. So don't start this if you're on round number 3. Make sure you finished round number 4, which I just have. So we're now going to start filling in these spaces so that we have a nice flat edge, because if you like it like this, great, leave it. If you don't, then you can finish it. So to start a border, you're not gonna turn your work first. So we're not gonna turn and go back in the other direction. So to start the border, you're gonna finish off round number 4. So make sure you do finish off round number 4 before you continue. So to start the border, you're just gonna turn your work and go in the other direction so that you have consistency. So the goal is to fill in these dinosaur bumps so that it becomes flat. So in order to do so is that we have to be consistent about it. So how we do that is that we chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3. And the next stitch that we're gonna put in here into this chain 3 space is going to be a half double crochet, and then the next one into this space is gonna be a single crochet. And all you're going to do then is just join it. So I've now just finished round number 4, and I'm gonna show you how to do a border. So if you're starting a border, you need to finish off doing round number 4. Okay, so do 3, 4, 3, 4 all the way until you get to the decision factor that you want to do it. So once you finish round number 4, you're gonna turn your work. So to begin this particular concept, we need to fill in the space so that these humps are gone. So all we just need to do is that we're going to just start, and we're going to chain up once and leave it. In the space, you're going to do a half double crochet, and then in the space again, you're going to put in a double crochet, and then you're going to slip stitch it to the next space between the double crochets and the chain 3. And see, that just made it flat. So to begin again, you are going to start off and chain 1. You're going to do the next one is a half double crochet, and then the next one is gonna be a full double crochet. So the chain 1 is acting like a single crochet, just so you know. And then you're gonna come into the space like this. See, you're making it flat. So chain 1, you're going to do a half, then a double, and then slip stitch it. See, you're making it flat. So chain 1, half, double, and slip, and do that all the way across. So we're gonna hit a corner shortly, so we're gonna chain 1, half double crochet, next this same space, double crochet in the same space, and then slip it. And what I would do if I were you is that I would just slip the next 2. So slip into the next double crochet and slip into the next chain 3 space, and then turn your work. So to begin the other side, you chain up 1, and then you were going to half, you're going to double, and slip. So what this did is that it made it pretty much flat, and then it turns as a nice flat edge here, and then you're ready to go. So chain up 1, you're going to half double, you're going to double, and then you're going to slip. So continue to do that all the way around. So just chain up 1, half double, double, and slip all the way around. And then once you get to the corner, just once you get there, slip it, and then slip it, and then begin the next side. So I'll see you at the end of this rotation. Okay, when you get all the way back around, you're still treating it just like what you already know, and then you eventually hit back at the main corner where you had started with. So you can tell you started here. So you're gonna slip stitch it, okay, and then slip stitch into the top of the next double crochet, and just slip stitch it to the first chain 1 space. Okay, and therefore you're done. So just take your yarn here and just want to weave in the ends as you're going. So just pull through, and you might want to throw it onto a darning needle in order to hide it completely. It's always best to do that. It just is a better way of keeping it from falling out. So just coming back in the opposite direction, just glide it up underneath the stitch work. This kind of yarn is more cordy, so I just want to just kind of get it between the cords. So once, and then in the other direction for twice. finally go in the other direction a third time. And you might want to do that if you have more than one area that you had to change your yarns, if you made a bigger Afghan and etc. So just going back and forth 3 times, just kind of restretching things back out, and then you can safely just trim that right down into the project, and therefore you'll never see it. So this is how you do the corner to corner times 4. You can see that there's a corner to corner here, 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 and here, and then it's just joined, and you're doing this as a square instead of individuals, just like so. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as YarnSpirations.com. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.